Good to go. Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. We will call our MPC meeting to order. And I guess our first item is there anyone excused? How do we want to handle our late? Do we leave them until they're not here or just leave them for now? Okay, perfect. We'll move on then to our minutes from our last meeting, which was held on March 11th. Oh, Hubie moves approval.
I'll move, yeah.
All in favor? Okay, that is passed. Is there any post-agenda items for today? Not seeing anyone. Then could I please have an adoption of the agenda? Anne-Marie? Okay, Anne-Marie moves. All in favor? Perfect. Okay, we'll move on then to our development permit. Development permit 2021-011. And Shannalee, we'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Development permit 2021-011 is for the approval of an existing accessory building with a variance to the side yard setback. The accessory building was constructed in approximately 1980, according to the assessment records. The current landowner has since installed a cement pad under the building, added insulation and electrical. The applicant is requesting an 11-foot variance to the side yard, and I did have a typo on my conversion between my meters and my feet there, but it is 11-foot variance that he's requesting. There was no issues from staff. There was no response from adjacent landowners. Alicia from the City of Brooks responded on behalf of the City of Brooks IDP members that there is no issues from any of them. Mr. Hubert is here to answer questions.
Well, good morning, Gerald. Nice to have you. Are there any questions for him in regarding this application? Is there anything that you would like to tell us?
Oh, sorry. Oh, no, there's nothing. Shannalee said everything perfectly.
Right on. Thank you for coming in today. So we will, any discussion on this, Molly? Your microphone's not on.
I was just going to move the approval of this development permit with conditions.
Thank you. So Molly has made the motion. Is there any other discussion? Okay, I'll call the question then. All in favor? Okay, that motion has passed. Thank you. Have a great day, Gerald. Okay, we'll move on then to item 9.1, our application submitted by Quintus Dairy, and who will introduce us to this item?
Sorry, Councillor Fife, we missed the DP 2021-013.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Development permit 2021-013 is to approve an existing mobile paint and sandblasting business, which is a home occupation 2. The applicant has a truck and a trailer that he uses to store and transport his equipment. The business operates 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. when there is jobs. The applicant picks up his trailer and equipment from the previous job location and moves to the new location, performing the duties related to the job on the owner's land. Occasionally, the applicant will store his trailer of equipment on his residence parcel. There'll be no outdoor storage at the applicant's residence other than the one trailer with the equipment stored inside. The only aspect of the business done on site is the bookkeeping. In discussions with Alberta Environment, they do not regulate mobile painting and sandblasting. However, there is a provision in the Act stating that a person shall not release substances in the air that may cause significant adverse effects, which I have listed as a condition F. There was no issues from staff. There was no response from adjacent landowners. We're recommending approval with conditions, and Mr. Schiller is here to answer questions.
Brian, go ahead.
Thank you. And just, I guess, was curious about the way this is worded. It's worded as a mobile sand painting and sandblasting business for home occ, and when the reality is it's really just for storage. So help me understand why we aren't, asking for a approval for a storage place, because all the background information basically outlines how Bill is not going to use this as a spot to do that kind of work. It's just a storage spot. So I guess I would, if I was just looking at it, I would be concerned about the fact that it's a mobile paint and sandblasting business if I was a neighbor, but the reality is it's not going to be used for that. So why are we talking about it in that regards, or asking for the approval of that, or rather than a storage spot?
Yes, Janelle, go ahead.
Thank you for the question. This business came to the Planning and Development Department as an enforcement issue. And when we discussed it in our group, we felt like it was similar to the mobile butcher operation, where it's working off site, but we still wanted to do a permit for the business portion of it so that there was some control for the neighbors where the business is being done. So there's protection against the neighbors in the areas where he's working.
Brian, does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think I'm clear on that now. As long as the neighbors have an understanding that this is, that there's no doubt that this is not for sandblasting, but it is just merely for storage. I have no problem with the application.
Okay, Anne-Marie.
My question is maybe along the line of Brian. The application is for a home occupation and the neighbors in that location have been notified. But this business could be operating next to me, being 30 kilometers away, and they could be in a building for months. And I was not notified. I have no say in that business operating that close to me. There is no condition in there to a limitation of being in a certain location.
Maria and then Kelly.
I think that's a very good point brought up by Councillor Phillipson. In this scenario, we, like Shannalee had said, it is an enforcement. It was brought up by enforcement. So there was a concern that was brought to us because this business was already happening. When we talked to the applicant, he had said that he works mostly in farmers' fields or for farmers, so in fairly remote locations was our understanding. So that's why we thought, in order to help with this business, but also have some restrictions to what he's doing, we could do it as a home occupation. But then we also say in the conditions that the sandblasting must be located 150 meters away from any existing residential uses, residential parks. That's in our land use bylaw. But you are right that because of the nature of the business being mobile, that we as a county staff aren't letting adjacent landowners know about the business because we're not sure where it's going to happen at any time.
Thanks, Maria, for that. We'll go to Kelly, and then maybe I see Jeff and Mr. Schiller if they want to make some comments after. But go ahead, Kelly.
So my thinking is in the same regard for, you know, a surprised acreage owner who suddenly has a sandblasting operation pull in next to him. We all know that there is air that is let go from a sandblasting operation. So I don't know that this helps, this home occupation helps our residents in any way. I see it as being a formality for Mr. Schiller, but not helping or supporting unsuspecting ratepayers. Just my thoughts.
Brian, go ahead.
Well, I want to come out in defense of Bill because Bill has actually operated his stuff across the road from me, and he's been very open and willing to accommodate his business and moved it farther away when I had an issue about it being too close. So I think he's, you know, and I know it doesn't change what we have before us, and everything that's been said is absolutely correct. But I think the character of the person we're dealing with does come into play here. It does for me, and I do support this business. I think it's quite advantageous to have somebody, especially if it's a farmer that needs a piece of equipment that needs to be repainted. He can do it on site. And, you know, and I just think that he's willing to work with the guidelines that the neighbors would put into place. At least that's what he's showing me. So I know it maybe doesn't alleviate the concerns that my fellow councillors have, but I do think that the person that is willing to work with whoever is around him. He was in my case anyways.
Okay, I guess we'll take one more comment from Wally, and then I'm going to go to Mr. Schiller for comments.
I think there is conditions within the suggestions for approval about where the painting is not permitted, and so I believe the acreage idea has been probably looked after and how it has to be enclosed in a building, and so I, like Brian, see no problem with this application. Thank you.
Thanks, Molly. If we could go now to Mr. Schiller, and Jeff, if you have some comments.
You go ahead. Thank you very much. I'm just going to make one quick comment before we let Mr. Schiller say his piece here. Is that Reeve Douglas did make a great point that there are conditions attached to this permit, and these conditions weren't, you know, taken from thin air. These are actually the distances and regulations as stated in the specific use section of our current existing land use bylaw on not just a mobile sandblasting operation, but where an actual sandblasting facility would be allowed to set up. So we impose those conditions, you know, on the MPC report here, but they're definitely open for discussion. And if MPC thought they needed to be varied, I think that's a possibility as well. But I'll turn it over to Bill to say what he wants to say.
Thanks, Brian, for backing me up on that one. But yeah, I always make sure that the neighbors and everybody knows what's going on at the farm that I'm doing the job at. So I always we always if I am doing work out in the far country, usually there's nobody around within miles. But if there is anybody within miles or whatever, I usually go and talk to them and let them know what the story is, what's happening, and the farmer usually lets them know what's happening as well. So everybody knows, everybody's on the same page type of thing. And so everybody's not too concerned that way. But as far as at my acreage, there's nothing that happens at my acreage at all, at my development. No, the only thing I have in my acreage is my home office, and that's it. And the odd time I do bring my equipment there to maybe do a simple oil change or whatever, but there's no such thing as blasting at my acreage at all. There's never has been, never will be. It just, we have close neighbors in my subdivision that they're very good neighbors, very good people, and I don't intend to make enemies with them and anything along that manner or whatever. And if I do need buildings, the farmers usually provide a building for me to paint in or sandblast or whatever the case may be. A lot of cases we don't even sandblast, like we just pressure wash, like feedlot owners and stuff. They're not really big fans on sandblasting, so we just pressure wash and paint with just normal paint gun, or even some cases brusher and roller type of thing, right? So, but it's not like a real big business of any sort, not at all. I don't make a whole bunch of money at it. It's just enough to get by type of thing, and that's about it. That's about all I have to say, I guess. So it's up to you guys from here. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you for those comments, Mr. Schiller. Brian.
I'd like to make a motion to support this application. And I don't know if it's important, Channelie, but some of the background isn't quite right. I don't know if you need to change that or not. 3 miles and the 0.8 kilometers, those numbers aren't correct. It's probably close to 5 or 6 miles, and whatever that kilometers is, 8 or 9 kilometers. So, on your preamble about where it is from the village of Dutchess.
Thank you, Brian. I will change that distance.
Okay, so Brian has made a motion. Is there any other discussion on this item? Okay, seeing none, we will call a question. All in favor of this approval? Any opposed? Seeing none, okay, that has been passed. And thank you for coming in today, Mr. Schiller. Have a great day. Okay, so I see Clarence is here now. Clarence, do you want to take over?
You're doing a great job. Just keep on going.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the item that I jumped to ahead of time for the application for Quintus Dairy. Go ahead, Maria.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. So these are 3 applications that have been referred to us. It's Quintus Dairy, Rommens Farms, and Clearview Hutterian Colony, who have submitted applications to the NRCB for increases to their confined feeding operations. So these are, all 3 are items that are regulated by the NRCB, and the NRCB submits the application to the county for comment. They ask us to respond in regards to our municipal development plan and how these plans may, if they go for or against our municipal development plan, any area structure plans, intermunicipal development plans, and they also inquire about setbacks. So I have included my response letter to the NRCB for all 3 of these applications. I don't see any glaring concerns except for the Rommens farms. There is maybe a conflict with setbacks in addition to their dairy barn, which is something that we can discuss with them when that time comes. And they would need a development permit application, although this is for a farm related use, because they are requiring a variance to the setback, then they would need a development permit for that. So I could get into the specifics if you'd like, or if there's any comments to any of the specific applications, if you'd like me to say anything specific to the NRCB, I can definitely do that.
Thanks, Maria. Are there any questions, comments on any of the items that are presented? Brian and then Ellen.
I just think it's really refreshing to have that information back. We have an idea what's going on. It shows in the details how the neighbors have been that are within the proximity of these intensive livestock operations, how they've been consulted. So it's yeah, I just wanted to make the comment that I think it's great information that we see across our table, and it also shows that there's development in agriculture and, you know, expanding our operations, and that there's enthusiasm for that. So thanks.
Ellen, you had a comment or question?
Not important at all. I'm sure it's a typo, but the the NRCB says at one point that it is in the county of Cyprus. And I'm sure that's just a typo, probably not important at all. You probably noticed that, Maria. So I just noticed it was sort of comical, I thought. But anyway, not important, but it is the county of Newell.
Thanks, Ellen, for those comments. Yeah, I'm sure will be corrected. Thank you. So, do we need a motion then to approve these then, Maria?
I think that you could accept them as information items, and then if there's no changes or alterations, then I will send the responses to the NRCB as I have them written.
Okay, so any corrections that anyone can see then, or we're good to go? Okay, I guess so. I'm not seeing anyone comment, so thank you for that. Okay, then I guess we will, is there anything for question period? Kelly?
Did I not hear Maria say she wanted a motion to accept for information? I would move that.
Oh, okay. Okay, I thought, yeah. I wasn't sure that we had to do a motion just to accept for information, but okay, good when Kelly makes that motion then. So we'll call the question. All in favor? And no one's opposed. So thank you. Is there anything for question period? Seeing none, then I will adjourn our meeting for today. Thank you.